Hey, I'm Chip Franks, and I am here to help you love life more. Today, we're going to talk about the reasons that our smartphones are making us dumber and more depressed, and more importantly, what we can do about that. Now, a lot of this I'm learning from Jim Kwik, who wrote the book Limitless. I highly recommend this book. It's fantastic. I've actually met Jim. We have some mutual friends, and he is an amazing human being, very kind, very good at what he does. And specifically for us, he knows about the brain and ways to make it better. He talked a lot about the ways that our smartphones are making us dumb. And now, before I get into this, I just want you to know that I'm not anti-tech. And in fact, of course, like everyone, I have a cell phone. I use it often. And I think that it is like the printing press was, and how it expanded human knowledge and human capability and led to everyone living better in the Renaissance. I think that we will have a new Renaissance from the collective information that we're able to get right now from our cell phones. And we won't know the effects of that for many, many years. But we are learning at an astronomical rate now. And it's not just a geometrical progression, but it is an exponential amount of learning that we're doing, and learning AI and being able to harness that as human beings. I think that technology is overall, it's a very good thing. However, it is a case of us needing to use technology rather than technology and social media and the big tech companies using us. And that's what we're here to talk about. Now, the very first step in this is awareness and knowing that our phones are making us more dumb. Jim talks about this in his book, and he calls them the four horsemen, the four Ds that are making our brains dumber. The first one he calls deluge. And that means it is so much information that is coming to us at all times from every direction. We have ads, we have TV, we have things that we read, we have things that are coming into our brain at all times, day and night, except maybe when we sleep. And even then, we probably dream about all of these inputs. And he put it in perspective when he said that the average human being today will learn or get more information than the average human being in the 1400s got in a lifetime. There's just so much information that's coming at us. It's often difficult to decide and to curate what is good from what is bad. And that is digital deluge. And of course, it's one of the reasons that we're being made more dumb by our smartphones. The second D is distraction. And what that is, of course, is it distracts us from the important things. We get notifications, we check our phone. Oftentimes, we check our phone hundreds of times a day, and we don't think about that. But if you look at your screen usage app on your phone and check out how many hours a day we are doing this on average, we realize that a lot of our world is dictated by a glowing screen and what we see on it versus actually taking things in the real world, the sights, the sounds, the expressions of the person sitting across from us, and the things that we can learn from it. We are oftentimes looking through the filter of our cell phone instead of looking at the world, and it distracts us. We're not going to go back in life and wish that we had looked at our cell phone more, but we will wish that we had spent more quality time with our family, with our loved ones, with our friends, moving towards meaningful things in our lives rather than being distracted by our phone. The third reason our phones are making us dumb is what Jim calls digital dementia. That means that our phones are remembering things for us instead of us using these beautiful brains. Think about the last time you've had to remember a phone number, an actual phone number, instead of just asking your smartphone to call that person. I'm embarrassed to say that before today and thinking about this, I did not know my daughter's actual number, which is just terrible. I remember back in the day, I actually had to remember numbers of my friends to be able to call them and contact them. And those are things, of course, we thought about that we don't have to think about now. And that is digital dementia. It's making us use our brains less and less. And of course, when we use something less and less, just like a muscle, it atrophies and it gets worse. And we don't use it nearly enough and we get weak. If you can also think about driving and going to different places, we now use GPS apps like Waze or Google Maps, and they take us exactly where we need to go. And we don't have to think about direction and think about where we turn, because we're spoon fed that information over and over again. And just like babies who have everything done for them and never do anything for themselves, we will start to lose that ability to be able to do it. And that is what Jim calls digital dementia. And it's another reason our phones are making us more dumb. Now, the fourth horseman is what Jim calls digital deduction. And that is our phones doing our thinking for us and making opinions and ideas and thoughts come to us as things that we read rather than things that we critically think about and deduct for ourselves. The phones often do our thinking for us. And rather than having our own opinion and thinking about things from one side or the other, considering it, debating it in our mind, we are often fed something off of Reddit or off of Facebook or Twitter, where another idea comes in, and rather than thinking about it ourselves, we adopt that idea blindly. And that is digital deduction. And it keeps us from being critical thinkers. Now, those are really bad, but I think what might be even worse, and it's something that Jim just touches on in his book, doesn't mention it a whole lot, but it's really the fifth D, maybe the fifth horseman out of this, and that is digital depression. And what that is the fact that our smartphones, these wonderful pieces of technology, are actually making us more depressed. Now, one of the reasons that is because we have so much input all the time. And just like we mentioned with digital deluge, so much information is coming to us. We don't give our brains time to take a rest. We don't give it enough white space. We don't give it enough decompression time. And instead, it's always consuming and consuming instead of reflecting and thinking and pausing and being able to process all of this deluge of information that we're getting every day. And personally, I think when our brains are working that much all the time without stopping to pause with this, that it can make us more depressed and in more need of a break. Now, another reason is something that my friend called compare and despair. And this is when we look at social media and we see other people with these airbrushed pictures and these filtered views of life, where they are showing their highlights of life and their highlight reel, where they're smiling, doing selfies in front of whatever latest, greatest vacation they're taking or newest thing that they've bought or happiness that they're having. And we often are publishing highlights, and us reading that and thinking about that as we're scrolling through our phone mindlessly, we are seeing all of the things that they have that we don't have. And this is what I call contentment to resentment. And when we do this, we are thinking about all of the things that we don't have, the things that other people have. And an example of this could be a millionaire sitting out on their yacht and enjoying the sunshine. Maybe the music is playing some great 80s station. I love 80s music. And the family is there, and it is a wonderful moment. And this person is thinking to themselves, my gosh, I am so grateful for this. This is so wonderful. I am so content now, until a shadow develops over that yacht. And they look up and they see a much bigger yacht blocking out the sun, passing them by. And they think at that moment, oh my gosh, I wish I had that bigger, better thing, rather than being content with the things that I have. And it doesn't matter how much you have or what is going on with your life, you can always find or just pick out little ways that other people might have it better and turn your contentment into resentment for that. And that is another contributing cause to why we might be depressed when we're looking at our phone. Other ways that can be depressing for us is that we're doing that and we're scrolling rather than being active and actually participating in life. And I see this so much in the younger generations, although we are very guilty of it too in my generation, is that oftentimes rather than being out and about and being with other people, we are digitally isolated. we're not with other people because we're connecting on the phone rather than in real life. And I think that there is a lot that is lost in that. When we're not with other people, when we connect online, we are more connected, but more depressed and more alone than we've ever been as a society. And I think that that contributes to the depression that the smartphones can cause. Now, I don't want to leave you like this. And actually, I'm working on this for myself as well. And I want to give ways that we can combat this. And now, one of the first things, and hopefully you can stop, you can pause this video, you can think about this and actually do some of these items now to help make your life better, help you not be as dumb and depressed as our phones are trying to make us. So the first one is just grab your phone and turn off your notifications. If you don't have to know when each text message gets to you, if you don't have to know when the next email comes or the next social media post comes, turn all of those off and it will not be as much of a distraction. And that's something that's very easy. Little hinges swing big doors, and just taking a minute or two to turn off those notifications will help in your distraction from day to day. Another thing that we can do is we can use bookend times to not have our phones with us. I like the idea of the bookend, and that means the time at the beginning of the day and the time at the end of the day where we are not using our smartphones. And the reason I like this is because we can control those parts of the day. We can control what happens when we wake up. We can control what happens right before we go to sleep. And in the middle of the day, often we don't control it and it can get really haywire. So what I recommend is set an alarm from the first moment you wake up. Set a time period of at least an hour to keep your phone from being used. And do that at the beginning of the day. And then at the end of the day, I recommend having an alarm that tells you it is time for bed and time to wind down. Set that an hour before you go to bed. And at that time, turn off your phone and don't allow any more inputs for the rest of the evening. You will be able to start your day and end your day on the right notes, again, without our cell phones making us more dumb and more depressed. Another thing, and I'm going to be trying this out myself, and these are all ideas that I'm doing. I'm actually making this video for me as well, because I don't always do this and I really want to. And in fact, I promise you right now, as I'm recording this, I am going to do these ideas and I will report to you on how it works later on. But I recommend a day of the week completely unplugged from your phone. I'm going to use Sundays because there's not a lot of work things that have to be done that day, and it will give me a chance to recharge my batteries at the beginning of the week before everything starts. I will have a Sunday unplugged, and I can't wait to see how that works. I know I'm going to want to use my phone. It's a habit. It's an addiction. Maybe it is for you too, but I'm going to try that, the Sunday unplugged. Now, another thing that we can do is when we are on our phones, whatever we're looking at on our phones, we can ask the simple question and ask this several times a day. Is this hurting me or is this helping me? If we're going to learn something, if we're thinking about something and it is constructive, we are learning and it's useful for us, then it's a good thing. However, most of the time it is used as a distraction. It is used as mindless entertainment, and it is keeping our brains from functioning at the optimal level because of the constant input. So ask yourself that question. And if you are hurting yourself, if we are hurting ourselves when we do that, we can stop and pause and put the phone away to help us with the dumbing down of our brains. The next thing, I do this often during the week. I take social media off of my phones during the week. And that, for me, helps prevent the mindless scrolling that I would otherwise do. And just delete your Twitter, delete your Facebook, delete your Instagram, even delete YouTube off of your phone during work hours or during the time that you need to focus. Now, you can do that, and of course, you can put it back on when you need to, but If you need those apps, you can always get them through your computer, through your desktop, through your laptop, however you do it. But then it will be more intentional rather than just a matter of habit of pulling out your phone and instantly pushing that button. You know the button, you know the app that you usually use. Stop doing that and just have it on your laptop. And now the last thing that I would say, and it's something that I help out a lot with the Love Life More video channel here and what I teach, is to have a grateful brain. And when we have a grateful brain, we are thinking about all of the wonderful things in our lives, and we are concentrating on the good and thinking about the good and creating those habits that make us more grateful, that make us more appreciative, and yes, that help us love life more. And ways to do that are simple. I write out 5 things that I'm grateful for every day in a specific order. You can do that. You can set alarms on your phone, a joy alarm. And in fact, I have 5 methods that you can use to be more grateful. And I can link it down here as another resource for you to become more grateful with that. And now something else I want to tell you about real quick is my list. I have something at blessingsreminder.com where most every day I will send out a list of 5 things that I'm grateful for, things that we can all be grateful for, to think about our blessings and be a lot more grateful for things in life rather than being entitled and thinking of the lack or the things that we don't have. These are the things that we can concentrate on and think about and being more grateful. And when we are more grateful, we can have that armor up so our phones don't make us as depressed as they would otherwise. So please check that out. It's completely free. There's no spam on it. And again, it is blessingsreminder.com. Sign up for that and get that little boost of gratitude each and every day. So thank you very much. I appreciate this. Let me know in the comments which one of these ideas you're going to try. I'd love to read that. I love to reply to these and interact with you. And thank you for your time on doing this. Have a great day. You are loved and you are deserving.